Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. My name's Kayla Trissetti. I'm the president of A-State Women in Science, and today we're going to be making bouncy balls. So what you're going to need a tablespoon of Elmer's white glue, and then you're going to need food coloring. This is optional, you don't have to have food coloring, but it'll make your bouncy balls whatever color you want them to be. And then you are going to need half a teaspoon of borax powder. Now, if you're a student that picked up your supplies from A-State, your ingredients will be measured out into baggies, so you won't need to measure it. But if you're just buying your ingredients from the store like I did, then you will need to buy borax powder. You can find it in the laundry detergent section of most stores. And you're going to need half a teaspoon of that. Then, your other ingredient is going to be cornstarch, and you're going to need 3 tablespoons of this. And I'll put all of these in a description so that y'all can see it. And then next, you're gonna need 4 tablespoons of warm water, or 4 tablespoons is also equal to 1/4 a cup. So 4 tablespoons or 1/4 of a cup of hot water. So in our first cup, you can have little mixing cups and you can stir your ingredients with a spoon, popsicle stick, it doesn't matter. I'm using just a big measuring cup as my mixing cup. And then I have some popsicle sticks that I'm gonna use. And these ingredients should not mess up any of the dishes that you use, but don't use any fine china. Don't wanna make any parents mad. Okay, so what we're gonna do first is you're gonna get your 1/4 cup or your 4 tablespoons of warm water, and you're gonna pour it into your bowl. Next, you're gonna get your 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, and you're gonna add it to the mixing bowl. And like I said, if you got your ingredients from A-State, it will already be measured out. You don't have to measure it, you can just pour it in. But if you have a whole canister like me, you'll need to measure it out. So that is 3 tablespoons. Just a normal tablespoon, not too exact. Pour it in your mixing cup with your water. So that's 1. 2 and 3. So I'm going to close that up and set that off to the side. And next we're going to get our borax powder. And for this you're only going to need half a teaspoon, so not much at all. So I'm going to scoop that out of my canister. So I have my half teaspoon. Now I'm going to put it in here with the water and the cornstarch. Okay. So now I have that in there. And then in another bowl or cup or whatever, I have these little paper cups, I'm gonna add my glue. And for your glue, you're gonna need 1 tablespoon. So I'm just using the same tablespoon that I used for the cornstarch. And it doesn't have to be too exact, and it might take a minute to measure it out. You can only squeeze so much out at a time. So it's going to be 1 tablespoon of glue. And if at any point this video is too fast, you can pause it and catch up where you need to catch up. I've almost got it. And the glue is what will hold the bouncy ball together since it's sticky. Okay, I've got my 1 tablespoon of Elmer's white glue, and I'm going to put this in a separate bowl. And since it's glue and it's gooey and sticky, you might have to use your spoon or your popsicle stick or whatever you're using to stir. You might have to scrape that out. So I know you can't see my table down here, but I'm just setting it down on the table and scraping the glue out. And it doesn't have to be exact. This should work no matter what. It's kind of like making slime. You can do it however you want, as long as you have the ingredients. Okay, I'm gonna set that off to the side. I got my glue in my container. And now you can put your food coloring. And like I said, the food coloring is optional. You don't have to have it. but I'm gonna use blue because it's my favorite color. And the recipe calls for 3 to 4 drops. You can add as many or as little as you want, and kind of like making slime, you can mix colors if you want. It's up to you. Okay, I added 3 drops of blue food coloring, and now I'm gonna stir it up and make my glue turn blue. So just stir it up really well. This is what mine looks like. Okay, and now our other cup that we made with the borax, cornstarch, and water, you're gonna wanna stir that too. I'm using a different popsicle stick, but it doesn't really matter. Just use whatever you need to stir it around. And by this point, this is gonna be kind of hard. So you're gonna have to really stir it around. It's gonna be kind of thick, so it's not gonna be super watery anymore. So you're gonna need to stir that up really good. Try to break up the clumps if you can. And it'll take a few seconds to stir that. Okay. So keep stirring, keep stirring. Okay, so stir it up real good. And now mine kind of, it's hard to see, but it's kind of like a thick paste. It's still liquidy, but really thick. Kind of like ice cream. Okay. Now, you're gonna pour, depending on how big your cups are, so my glue cup is a lot smaller than my water cup. So I'm gonna pour the glue into here. If your glue cup is bigger than your water cup, you can pour the water into there, it doesn't matter. Bottom line, you're gonna mix these together. So I'm gonna scrape this to the side. Okay. Now pour it with your glue. So I'm just mixing it down here on my table, scraping the glue out of the cup into my water bowl. Mixing all of the ingredients. Okay, and just scrape it out as best you can. It's kind of hard because now all of our ingredients are sticky and clumping together. But you're gonna scrape it out the best you can. Okay. And now you're gonna stir it together. And it will almost instantly start to turn into a glob. But you're probably gonna have to stir it really good. So you're probably just gonna need to keep stirring and keep stirring. See, like mine, we'll try not to splash it on yourself like I just did. Maybe don't wear nice clothes. Wear your scientist clothes. So it's gonna turn into just goo, kind of like when you're making slime. And just keep stirring and it'll all eventually turn into a glob. Keep. Okay. And it might take a while. And if you want to do this experiment with a friend, that would be great because they can stir this while you're adding in the glue or adding in your water. They can stir it while you do it, and then it won't be as hard to get it into a glob of bouncy ball. Because like right now, it's kind of hard to get it into bouncy ball form. It's not really wanting to mix up, but if you do it with another person, they can stir it while you do it, or vice versa. Okay, so you're just gonna keep stirring and try to get, you'll see where the glue mixture and the water mixture are still kind of separate, and you want those to just mix together. You want them to just turn into one solution, not separate mixtures. And yours might not take as long as mine is, but you're just gonna stir until it looks like it's pretty much all mixed together really well. And that's something about science. It'll be different every time you do an experiment. Every time you make any kind of solution or mixture, it might not turn out the same. You might do everything the exact same and it still turns out different. And that's one of the fun things about science. You never know what to expect. Okay, so I've mixed mine together. I could probably mix it a little more, but we'll see what happens. I'm impatient and I want to make it a bouncy ball already. I'm tired of stirring. So you're going to take this out, take it out of the bowl, and it's going to be messy. You can use your hands or you can put gloves on, however you want to do it, but I don't mind getting messy or it getting on my hands. So what I'm going to do, well, I'm also making a mess everywhere, spilling it all over the place, but you can see it's a lot thicker now, and I can't really scoop it out like I could before. So that means that it's working. Everything's starting to mix together and react, and we're getting towards having a bouncy ball. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna scoop it out of my bowl, and see it's kind of like a ball now. So you can make one big bouncy ball or you can make a few little ones, but what I'm gonna do first, just to make sure that everything's all mixed together, kind of like kneading dough when you're making bread. You're just gonna squish it all together, play with it in your hands a little bit, and get it all mixed up. And you can see I'm just kind of squeezing it between my palms, getting it all over my hands, but that's the fun part. Okay, now I'm gonna tear it apart because I want to make more than one bouncy ball. I don't want one big bouncy ball. I want a few little ones. So you can keep doing that, keep squeezing it, just to get everything good and mixed up. And if yours isn't sticky enough, if you think that it's just gonna fall apart and crumble, you can try to add more glue. Whatever you want to add, it's your experiment and your bouncy ball. You make it however you want. And another fun thing, when you add your food coloring, you can also add glitter or sequins or beads, just to make a fun little bouncy ball with stuff in it. It really doesn't matter. It's all up to you. Okay. And this is my first time to do this experiment too, so y'all's might be better than mine. Okay. And mine's not super sticky. It's kind of supposed to be sticky at first, but mine's not, so if yours isn't that sticky either, that's okay. You can add glue if you want. So now I'm just rolling it in between my hands to make a ball. I'm just gonna keep rolling it, kind of like Play-Doh. Okay. And now you have it. Have my ball. And then, since I separated mine, I still have some left in my cup. So I'll keep stirring this and get this all mixed together again and see if I can make another ball. Okay, now I have more. This is a different ball. And this one, because I let it sit for a little while I let the other ball sit. So this one's a little more sticky, which is good. And roll it. And you might have to let it dry for a little bit. That way it'll be more like a bouncy ball and less like putty. And I just dropped it back in my mixture. So roll it up, and you can see you're gonna get messy, but it's okay. And there you have it. We have made bouncy balls. So I hope you have fun with this experiment, and I hope you get to make some fun bouncy balls. And I hope you have a good rest of the weekend and have fun at the Arkansas Science Festival. Bye, thank you.